muffin, Mom?
Yes, please.
Little baby one?
Yeah.
I don't think they taste as good as they look. I think they look better than they taste. You take whichever one you want. You can have this, you can eat as many as you want. Just start with one. They're all the same.
Why I got you on my mind? Why I got you on my mind? Why I got you on my mind?
I like taking songs and then like just totally wrecking them. Like singing them completely different than what's intended.
Different names.
Yeah, like totally singing off key, you know, it's kind of fun. People are just like, I get that a lot. A little baby kitten, just a little baby kitten. There's a little baby kitten right there. A little baby kitten, a little baby. We got Gray Kitty back here, and the cat Papasan. Right here. Hi, welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Heoki empath. I just like having these little talks on the way I feel about things. It's been a weird few days for me, man. Energetically, I'm just like, just trying to stay grounded. Just let the energy just flow through me and not try to take too much of it on, because it's pretty freaking, man, the potentials right now are pretty gnarly. So the link that I shared in the chat is confounded. I changed my song. Is a talk that I watched recently by Mr. Astrotheology. What's his name? I used to know his name. Santos Bonacci is his name. And it's the talk is Syncretism Society Introduction to SAAM Best Method. Anyway, it's about 2 hours long. 2 hours and 7 minutes, 45 seconds to be exact. I just like putting stuff, like I'll listen to talks while I'm cleaning and working in the yard, piddling around. I listen to talks. So and sometimes it takes me a couple days to listen to one, but I get through it. And I have such a vast background. I don't even know where to begin. Let's just say I've always been a very curious person. Very, very curious. Okay, if I do this, what is the outcome when I do this? And then I try it, and then mistakes or lessons are learned, not mistake. Other people tell me I make a lot of mistakes. I'm like, I learn a lot of lessons. I try a lot of different things. But I do have a scientific background. I've always been very curious, and I did actually go to college for IT and information technology. So I have a pretty broad spectrum of knowledge, and all the while, by trying to find these things to help integrate me better in the 3D world, is Mom and I have always lived in different timelines, higher dimensions, call it whatever. You know, we ain't never really lived in the same world as everybody else, and so when I got to go out and navigate in the world, man, sometimes I'm just like, what? So this conversation that he had, he did make one thing. He made a point. Said, I'm gonna get something out of this video, and it's gonna be like a light switch for me. And I've done other talks in my. I've done almost 1,900 videos in the last 5 years. I've done a lot of talks, and the way I picture things in my mind, I try to articulate them here, and I've always looked as people. as energy. I look at myself as energy, like that. I went to school when I was 18 to like a trade school, tech school type thing, to be an EKG technician. So I learned a lot about the heart and the electric pulses. And takeaway is we are run by electricity, and when our electricity stops, we stop. And the good news is we have ethers full of electricity and charge and data and information that we can always tap into, sustain ourselves. People just aren't thinking in those terms yet. So he explained how in the way he explained it is everything is red and blue. Everything's like negative. Negative is positive is red, blue is negative, right? In a lot of areas, venues, stuff like that, And then he brought it down to, he breaks down more of the language later in the talk, but I'm gonna focus on the color scheme, the blue, red, how they make, blue is for boys, red is for pink is for girls, right? They plant seeds in our psyches, and then we just go around like they're remote control people acting however they want us to do based on these seeds that they've planted in our psyches. And I've always been more of a neutral. I've looked at everything as balance, and I had a pretty cool conversation today outside the coffee shop. I saw Bill, an old artist that lives in town. He was talking to a lady, and she said, we were just talking about how Taos, if Taos has more of a masculine or a feminine energy to it. And I said, I feel like the energy of the whole collective has been in the masculine. But see, the way I look at it, that old broad that just died, that blue blood, that lady with the blue blood, there's supposedly so many people care about. I think there's a lot more people that don't care about them, but they're just trying to perpetuate a story, try to get people to co-sign their crap. And I said, I think that she was the masculine, that she encompassed a lot of the masculine, a lot of the controlling, the domineering, a lot of those toxic traits. But see, the people miss is that everybody has feminine and masculine energy in them. Everybody has red and blue. I have more blue than red. On my astrological chart, it actually says, where is it? Right here. Like, if you can go to Astro Cafe and put in your name, birth date, birth time, you gotta know your birth time, right? Birth time. But you can look yourself up, get the gist of yourself. Well, it's too bright. Here, there we go. I actually have 6 and 4. See, I got no earth. See, I'm more air, water, and fire, so I get awful steamy. Immutable, it's hard for me to make a decision. That's why it's like I gotta land on something. I hear my friends say, pull the trigger, Marge, just decide on something, because I could try this, I could try that, I could try this. And then in that dichotomy, I get stuck, and I can not do anything. So, all right, I'll try this. All right, this didn't work. So anyway, the lady at the was saying, and she was like, oh, I get that. Yeah. I said, yeah, I think that she was the masculine, and that energy's dying, and we're going to come back more into the feminine. And hopefully, see, and this is what I'm trying to work on in my own character, in my own personalities. I'm trying not to get angry. And I got a lot of fire. I got a lot of passion. I'm a very impassioned person. I get angry. I get very angry. And I don't want to get angry. I don't want to get mad about nothing. I don't ever want to get mad. I get mad when I get mad. Because it's like, what is it? What causes it? And I think, I mean, it has some stuff to do with the 8 anthrax vaccines they gave me, and it has, you know, there's a lot of reasons why, you know. The thing like that though is personalities like me, you know, whether anger is justifiable or it's not, whether I have a reason, I could have a very, very good reason. I got lots of good reasons that I can be angry, but all it does is hurt me. It's poison. Anger is toxins. Like yesterday I was yelling, the day before I was yelling, not all day. I woke up, I flashed. I haven't been sleeping. So I yelled. And then I put myself in check and start my day over, and then I didn't yell no more. But I yelled yesterday when I brushed my teeth today. Well, I brushed my teeth last night, but anger creates toxins in your body, you know. And just being angry, it's bad for your gums. It's bad for your teeth. You know, you could tell I take pretty good care of myself, like, because one thing I've always done is I've recognized that we do carry psychic energy and just energy in our teeth, and it comes out. Like, I've noticed that when I get angry, the next day I literally have a bad taste in my mouth. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want to act like that. I don't want to be like that. I just don't want it. And so what I'm doing is, and I'm seeing examples in other people of how of what I look like when I get mad. I'm getting to see it. And I don't want to be, you know, I work so hard to find peace and serenity in this life, you know, that I don't want to slip and fall back into that whenever something doesn't go my way, I just freaking get mad and flash and freak. So now I'm just learning how to I'm trying to teach myself how to ignore things. I've never been good at ignoring things. Never, because I'm hyper vigilant. I mean, I notice stuff when I'm not looking to notice stuff. I notice stuff. I don't want to notice stuff, and I notice stuff. I don't want the universe to reveal this stuff to me, and the universe says it doesn't matter what you want. You need to know how, you know. You need to know. So I get a lot of stuff revealed to me that I don't want, And so, but what I'm trying to do is just really learn how to not take on the emotion. I'm trying so hard to just look at everything as a spectator sport. Just a witness to everything that I see. Try not to have an emotional response. It is so hard for me. I got to tell you, it's so hard. And I know that now, even just me putting out in the universe, this is what I'm doing. I know that I'm going to be challenged. I've been challenged my whole life. It says it in my placements. You know, I'm a a-hole magnet. I think it's because I recognize the strength in myself and the masculinity, and I've learned how to deal with it, you know, and other people, they see me and they look at it and they use it as an attack on me. You know, they'll call me something like a dyke or a bull or something like that, and I'm like, no, I met a lot of those type women, and I don't identify. And if you identify with me with that, then maybe you're a little bit more bully yourself, you know, and maybe you should worry about how, you know, the eyes in which you're seeing through, because we are the beholders of everything. So whenever I go out in the world and I'm all pointing my fingers, I'm like, look at that a-hole, look at that a-hole. You know, I'm pointing one of my fingers at them, but I got 3 of my fingers are pointing back at me. So who's really the a-hole? It's all about accountability, and this planet ain't going to change. I think a lot of people are going to transition because they don't want to change. And they're just like, that's cool, we can start the incarnation over, you know. I'm just going to live this life entirely in my self-will. I'm not going to think about nobody else or do what's right for anybody else. And I'm just going to go around living the best version of my life, love and light, la, 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 spiritual bypass, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then next life, maybe I'll degrade a little bit. Maybe I will. I've had those incarnations, you know. That's what I got a lot of making up to do in this one. I got so much making up to do in this life, man. You know? Gotta make sure mom's taken care of. I just gotta take, you know, God puts things in my path, and I just gotta take care of this stuff. You know, there's cats everywhere. I don't know what I'm doing. I just feed stuff when they need to eat, and I change the litter boxes every day, and I keep things clean. I don't know what I'm doing. But, so, the lady at the coffee shop, yeah, she was probably in her 50s. I was like, because I'm not good about some people, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I'm autistic, so I can't. Sometimes their energy reads different than what they're saying, and I don't know. And I've had a lot of people say to me, "Oh, you think everybody likes you?" I've had a couple people say, I'm like, I don't think people like me much at all, but I've had a couple people say that to me. So I don't, yeah, I'm mean. But, so I try not to get too, you know, thinking like I'm too big of a deal, you know, like, oh yeah, oh la la la, they like me, la, you know, I never been like that. Arrogant, yeah. And my dad's like that a lot. So I know what it looks like. I don't want to look like that. So she's standing there and she's like, I've always been more attracted to men and women that are like balanced in their energy and they're masculine and feminine. And I said, well, I've always had more masculine than feminine. I said, but I've had to learn to compensate. And that's the thing is like these men, the machismo, the macho men, they freaking can't stand me because I'm cool with my masculinity. And to them, they don't feel, for whatever reason, men emasculate themselves in their own mind. Men need Viagra and male enhancement drugs, mostly because of the crap that they're saying to them. Same for women. They can't have pleasurable intimate experiments with their partner if they're all in their head. You know, thinking about not being in the present moment, engaged with their partner. People tell them, so, you know, you talk yourself in and out of going. Yeah, I'll just put it that way, you know, and so men emasculate themselves, and women do it too. I've had, and if I'm not careful about my ego and I get too much, you know, into caring about how I'm treated and all this earthly bound crap that doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. You know, when I get into too earthbound in my ego, which an ego is significant, we gotta have them. If I didn't have an ego, I wouldn't do any talk. I would probably have too much self-centered fear holding me down, saying, you know, nobody wants to listen to what you have to say and all that stuff, you know. But she was talking about how she was attracted to balance, and I was like, yeah, I've had to learn how to step more into my feminine. So I got to come up to keeping my feminine balanced with my masculine, and then come up more to be even softer. Because by nature, I'm aggressive. I'm like, I have hard hands, you know. So I got to work harder, you know. If I just let myself well run riot, the beginning of when I started this video, I went out and drank after 14 years sober for a few months, and then I don't drink anymore again because this life just ain't about me. Excuse me. And I was highly in my ego. And in retrospect, I see how I have shot my own self in the foot from living that way, how I made life hard for myself from living from that egoic heart space. And then there's been a shift. And then that shift, see, when we moved to Oregon in 2016, we were there for a great eclipse. That's when the Great Awakening started. See, because light was cast across the land for people to, you know, for it to get dark and then to have the eyes to see, you know, see things they've never thought existed. It's supposed to get them to think about things that they never thought of before. And then all this stuff, the last couple years with all the nonsense, all the lies, man. Yeah, every scientist, every politician, every bureaucrat, all these people that pay themselves an obnoxious amount of money to have very bad ideas. Picture them like stranded someplace and crying, and being so scared they probably piss themselves and stuff. That's what, because these people that like act so, they're the biggest cowards. That's why they cause so much harm to people, because they're cowards. But the thing of it is something is about to happen. We're on the precipice, man. We are so close. We are so close to that one thing that is going to make the whole world just stop. And I don't think it's going to be... See, there's this big, this organic versus man-made, people are taught the weather is all man-made, like a lot of this weather is man-made, weather warf and all this stuff, and there's all this speculation that these people are controlling this and these people. The fact is that the outcomes, whether somebody is controlling, it's all natural divine, the outcomes are still gonna be catastrophic. And it's good, and we are creating this. We are creating this. So the turnover, it's gonna impact everybody in some kind of way, And people are gonna have a rude awakening, but they've had an opportunity to wake up of and by themselves a lot, ignoring things doesn't make the reality is stuff go away. And there's too many people on this planet that are just like, la, 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 it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. Egos are big. See, and I track a lot of astrology, and then I just watch people living from their shadow or their heart space or trying to keep it balanced, Because you can be unbalanced and just completely living from your heart space all the time. That's why I got to go out and go to the park and do stuff for me sometimes to recharge my batteries at increments of a couple hours. Not too long, but I don't like leaving Mom alone. It's just, there's too much stuff, like the power trips, I don't like it. So, and it was a little warm today, so I didn't want to take her with me. And the energy just is not... I was good. I hung out with the fun guy yesterday, and I had a gut feeling. It's just like, no, it's not the right time. Don't do it today. So I didn't. And then I ran to this young man earlier today, and they blocked off like the street and had like a block party type thing. I don't know what the occasion was, but he hung out with the fun guy, right? Unfortunately, he had his phone and his keys to his van in his pocket and lost both of them. So it's just, he's just going through it. And then it occurred to me it's Sunday. He was supposed to get his dog back on Friday, and then he didn't have him. So I guess that's that, And I'm just like, I can't, I've been looking at trailers online. We maybe find a camping trailer. I just got to find a place to put it, really. And it's just, things are going to get crazy, and they already are for a lot of people. Look around the world. Look at the stuff that's happening. There's all the earthquake. There's all the flooding. Things are in I think it's a trip. They said there's a hurricane in California. Well, I'm 48 years old. I don't remember ever being a hurricane. They call them tropical storms, I think, in California. But I don't remember ever them saying see, that's the thing, is they just switch up terminology, play with words, say, it's all clickbait, it's all BS, it's all nonsense, saying stuff like, it hasn't been like this in ever, and it has, heat waves, and it's just all in making people scared. Security is an inside job. I've had experience where I've had police I was 15 years old, first time I had a firearm pulled on me by RPD. And it was just me and Mom. And they're like, oh, it's, it's for their safety. Excuse me, dumb fuck. You're the one with the gun. I'm a 15-year-old girl, right? So that was the first time. And I was completely calm. See, I've had traumatic things happen, like for real scary stuff, And those meatheads, dill holes, stuff like that, it's just all about instilling fear. And I'm not gonna freaking succumb to it. When I was in Oregon, this is just a couple years ago, I had a man. I was just out front of my door, and he was like hauling ass, like 45. And there's cats, there's kids. So I just flipped him off. I didn't yell at him. I just, like that. He freaking locked up his brakes. He was in like one of those moving trucks, Locked up his brakes in front of the house. Gets out. He was like, I don't know, probably 5'10", 5'11". Everybody's bigger than me. He gets out of his van, bald, ugly, dickhead looking mofo. Starts freaking running at me, full board. I just stand there. I don't even flinch. He's like, I could put you in those bushes. And I mean, like the level of hostility coming off this guy. Because I was like, dude, all you got to do is slow down. Like that outcome didn't match. It didn't match. That was an imbalance in him. And then this woman gets around from the other side, and she's like all gray looking, like half, like she's, she ain't well. She wasn't well. And I was like, oh, I get it. And that I understand that level of hostility, that wasn't directed at me. I was just the catalyst. I was just the hair, the last straw, the no more, So he's continuing with all this other stuff, this sick lady, he's probably moving, blah, 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 whatever. So taking out his aggression on me. When I get mad, I know it's because I feel powerless. Every time I get angry, it's because I'm afraid about things that I cannot control. And I'm not being in the present moment. I'm not being where my hands are. That's the only control I have, is where my hands are. This moment. I'm a thinker. I can, if I'm not careful, I can spend way too much time worrying about the future or stressing about things that have already happened. And the reality of the situation is, God, good early direction only happens right here, right now. He ain't back there in the past. He don't go with you in the future. He's a present moment type thing. That is where my peace and serenity is found. And I can chuck it whenever I start thinking outside this room, Things about, one of my greatest frustrations that I have is that my old programming of what I was always told is that I have to be out working and doing something all the time to being a productive member of society. And it's so funny that a lot of these people that have said these things to me, they aren't so productive themselves. Yeah. So, but things are changing. Things are, I went and looked at a place this morning. It was on Craigslist. They want $1,200 a month, and online, it's. I'm like, hey man, that might be doable. It might be an option. And so I sent an email yesterday to the landlord asking if I could drive by and look at it, and they responded yes and gave me the address. And so I drove over there this morning. And it ain't gonna work. I'm like, it's a small, what they call them, a casita around here, like a little adobe house. But this one, it was like, you go in the front door, and then there's a room. That's the kitchen. You have like a kitchen, refrigerator, stove, sink right there, just on one wall. And then you have enough room for like a kitchen table, maybe something like that, maybe a a stand for a microwave or something if you wanted to use that. And then you walk into the next little room, and that's the bathroom. And in the bathroom, there's a washer and dryer, one above the other. I used to have one of those. I got it for $250, $200. Where was it? Anyway, so the guy was TDYing. And then it had a bedroom off to it, and that's it. It didn't even have like a living room. So I was like, no, it's too small. We can't do this. So we're going to have to pass. But it's just, aside from waking up the last 2 nights at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Today it was 4. Yesterday it was 3. Aside from that, and then I get, because see, the way I look at it, that's when all the anxiety comes out. That's when all the fears come out. Like when people, because there's a lot of people that are up at night and they're worried about stuff. And when you're energetic sensitive like me, when I wake up, I gotta freaking block it out. I gotta block it out because, it travels through the electric circuits. Negative polarities, it's like a bad mood travels like in the ethers. Fear travel. It's a vibrational frequency. So when I wake up, in the middle of the night, and I gotta work harder to calm down so I can go back to sleep, because you can't go to sleep unless you're at a peaceful state. And sleep is very important to me because I don't get it very often. Hi, little baby kitten. Yeah, it was you. You're the little culprit. Yeah, go up higher. Go up there, big baby. Came in wanting snuggles and loves at 3 o'clock in the morning. What am I supposed to do with that? Little kitten kisses? Really? Whatever. So, things are getting crazy. Things are getting wild. A lot of people are coming out of alignment. They're gonna learn the consequences. Anybody can do whatever they want. We all got free will on this planet. Live from that ego. Just see what happens and recognize what happens when you live from that ego space. I've talked a lot of trash about people in my life, and my circle is very small. Partially by choice. No, all the way by choice. Partially by my choice. Not always my choice, but I learned my lesson. And so whenever I go to talk to somebody and I feel like I want to be cheeky or snide or sarcastic or just a jerk, I got to ask myself, do I want that bad taste in my mouth? Do I want to be different than I've been? Because I know that I want the outcome of my life to be different than it has been. So in order to get different outcomes, I got to act different. And that's not getting mad. And I wonder how that's going to manifest in other people's lives. I think it's pretty cute, this whole, spiritual awakening. Everybody's talking about spiritual awakening. You don't get to level up unless you've become disheveled in some capacity. You don't get to. You don't get to live, that, I got to go to the same school. My parents have been married for 50-something years. I went to their college. The alumni were just all the same alumni, and I've been married, and my kids have the most wonderful lives, and now they're you don't get to ascend spiritually with just nothing but good stuff happening. But people do get to have the experience that that live in lots of incarnations where they're just living just the best. Just the thing of it is we learn as we live more and more on this planet and other planets and other dimensions and other experiences, as we have more and more experiences, as our soul travels and fluctuates in and out of the great source. all the data and information that could ever exist. It's the great source to me. And just coming from a place of that source of kindness, and I struggle with that. I do. I don't want to be kind to people all the time. People suck. Mostly I think they do. Yeah, there's little no, I don't think all people suck all the time. I think most people suck most of the time. And that's choices and free will that they make because of fear. And I recognize it in them as I recognize it in myself. And that's what I'm trying to work on. You know? Step more, come more from a faith of place. I do a pretty good job. Sometimes the energies are not in line with my ideas about how I want to feel about things. You know? But how I act, that's what's matter. And that's what matters. There's a lot of people that freaking, I feel bad for kids and young adults. They just don't have nobody to look up to. They don't have people to look up to. I mean, it's not. I mean, the world is just such a different place. People of integrity. I mean, just think. One of the greatest creators of animosity on this planet is as simply as somebody not saying what they said they're going to do. It's just somebody not keeping their word. Somebody not following through. That's why I have such a hard time with drunks. Because as well as they mean, how many times do they say stuff and they don't even remember what they say? And that's why I find it so annoying. Because they don't even, and they always act like, oh, what did I do? Oh, you don't remember. Well, I'm not going to remind you. Maybe you shouldn't drink so much. If you drink so much, you can't remember. But people don't do that, because what they deserve and what they tell themselves that they deserve. And how many lives are ruined every day by freaking people that are like that. And not my clown, that's not my circus, so I don't even deal with, our world is so small because it's like, think about it. Anybody that drinks, there ain't in our world. I'll be principled, I'll be civil, but we ain't going to be cool and kick it. We ain't going to be BFFs. Anybody indoctrinated into that politics, entertainment, religion, not in my world. Yeah. See, I believe in different things. This control paradigm, the blue bloods, the blue and the red bloods, the blue bloods and the red bloods, the lizard people. Do you ever see a blue-bellied lizard? I used to catch them when I was a little kid in California. You ain't never seen no shapeshifter? See, all these people, because they aren't open and receptive to it, they don't have the broadband, the broadband for it, the bandwidth for it. Because you gotta be open and receptive and be this of a certain frequency in order to receive data and information. And so you got all these shallow people in the world, with their little crystal balls and their little, all their books on their shelves. A lot of my knowing. See, I don't read because I don't want it to interfere with what I know. And then sometimes, I'll have conversations with people that read and then tell me that my line of thinking is congruent with this whatever said ideology. See, we're all of the ether. You want to know? I was one of those kids that earnestly believed that because I hated reading. I hated trying to interpret what do they mean this, or this, because I would see things in so many different ways. And school was a nightmare for me because I'd have to answer the questions how the teacher wanted me to, but in different timelines and different realities and different, And I didn't always see, I didn't always see the antagonist as the culprit, and I always saw things different because I'm not so neurotypical. And so I didn't get good marks because I wasn't a parrot. I didn't just say what they told me to say. I said what I thought, and it wasn't in an alignment and congruent with their program. So I was a failure. That really does a number on your self-esteem. It hasn't been until the last few years that I'm like, I know my worth. I know my value. I know what I bring to the proverbial table. I know all of my abilities. I know all of my talents. I'm freaking witty. I'm clever. I'm funny. You know, I reference a lot of material from the olden days. You know, I got, you know, and so other people that don't have abilities and capabilities, but I don't know, they inherited money or something. They're definitely not going to see the power in me and the worth of me. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to get on and do the talk early because energy's just been so weird. Just I haven't had a lot of juice lately. Yesterday, I hung out with just Mom and I just hung out. I laid out here and just because the day before, in between doing chores and stuff like that, I did get to meditate for a little while, but I just haven't got no gusto, and I'm just trying to maintain my peaceful state without having any slips. So anyway, all in all, how are you doing, Ma? You're doing very good. We gotta wash your hair, Ma. We hate that. We both hate it, but we always feel better when it's over. Anyway, I think I've run my mouth long enough. I know I've talked over a half hour and my voice is starting to get sore. 45 minutes. 42:52. All right, that's about all I got for now.